Yeah, make sure you do that.
Here we go.
Prepare to attack.
Follow me to glory!
Amp it up!
Heroes never die.
I am ready to unleash the dragon.
Time for a new adventure!
You are listening to Choke Point.
Molten core!
An Overwatch podcast.
Recorded live before a streaming audience.
Wakateki wo kurau!
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Choke Point, episode 6, recorded on August 24th, 2016. I'm Brent Copeland.
I'm Octane Pro.
I'm Freckles.
I'm RP Gamer 99.
And this is going to be an awesome week. And this next segment is brought to you by our live Twitch show. Hopefully you're watching. Check it out at Choke Point. The Choke Point podcast live every Wednesday at 9:15 Central or 10:15 Eastern. Okay, let's see what's in this loot box.
What's in the loot box?
Alrighty. Didn't get to hear the audio there, Brent, by the way, so we had no clue what was going on.
Y'all can't hear the audio?
No,
Nope.
we didn't hear the bumper.
Oh,
No,
that's-
it's okay.
I'll
That's
fix that.
okay.
We're
All
waiting
right.
for the screen to change.
Yeah, just
That's
wait for the
right.
screen
I
to
was
change.
like, what's
New stuff.
So, this upcoming show this week, we're going to go ahead and jump into news. We have lots going on this week in the world of Overwatch. We're going to talk about Sombra and all the fun that's been going on there, all the teasers and everything with her, or him, I guess. We're going to talk about Genji this week. And then lots of stuff going on in the esports scene that happened this past weekend, and that is coming up this weekend as well. So let's go ahead and jump into it, and we'll talk about kind of our war stories for this week and kind of what's been going on. So Freckles, what do you got for us this week?
I reached level 221.
Oh
Got
my
myself
What?
a star.
Did you say 221?
Is that like prestige or something like that? Like your
Double.
prestige, you know?
Double prestige. I've got 2 stars now.
You're going to roll around on me. Wait, that sounds dirty. Like you're going to catch up to me. I think you might have.
I definitely have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've been playing a lot of Lucio, and I've been playing very aggressive Lucio and having a lot of fun with it. Mostly I've been playing him because nobody else seems to want to heal this week. And I've been just doing it to fill the role, and I don't like really passive playing, so I've just been getting up in people's faces and crushing it.
Ah, all right. That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you find Lucio's kind of the last slot to be filled, like the healer slot's last to be filled in
Yeah,
a lot of your games?
this week in particular, but yeah, a lot of times, like, I'm just watching people pick, and it's like over there, no healers, no tanks, no healers, no tanks, and no, and oh, people are just
It's
It
like the
seems like
last
those-
two, right?
Yeah.
Tanks
yeah,
and
same
healers.
thing.
always. And so I don't tank very well. I can do an okay diva, and my Reinhardt is in a pinch, but I've been finding that just nobody wanted to heal all week, and I've played so much Lucio,
Yeah.
and I've gotten to the point where I've 1v1'd a couple Reinhardts even and won. It's really,
That's impressive.
yeah. Well, I mean, I can heal myself, and I'm so agile, and
Yeah.
he's not. So I can just run circles around him, and then heal myself when I get low, and push him away when I need him to,
Sure, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I think if you can keep your rotations up, I think it makes kind of makes sense there.
Do you
Well,
push it
cool.
real good?
obviously.
RP Gamer, what about you?
I played more Genji this week to flesh them out and figure out if it's something I can play. And basically, it's a 50-50 shot whether I do very well or not. If the other team has a good counter for him, he's easy to kill, and I die quite often. But if I get against a team that isn't prepared for him, you can wreck face if you're Genji.
Yeah, now are you finding that you're getting better at like bouncing off the walls and barely touching the ground and stuff like that? Because that, to me, that defines like a good Genji. You know what I mean?
You have to keep moving and not touch the ground.
Yeah.
But when you're countered well, like with May or Winston, then you pretty much can't do anything.
Yeah.
I can. I'm not that good.
You're better than I am at it, I'm sure, because like my Genji play is a lot to be desired. Like I'll run up and like try to kill a sentry and be like, hey, that doesn't seem to work. Reflected on him like that.
Out of the 2 weeks that I played him, I only got to play of the day once with him.
Okay. Yeah, for me this past week, I've been finding myself falling more towards like Tracer. And I've been enjoying more and more of the one-on-one team battles, just kind of the, hey, one-on-one kind of back alley type of area, you know, and I'm really enjoying that with Tracer. I like that. That's a lot of fun, you know, just kind of scooting all over the place. So this past week, I've had quite a few experiences where I walk away and I'm messaging the other Tracer in chat and they're messaging me back, just kind of laughing about it because of just, you know, Tracer is pretty much that hyper aggressive character where like, it's like someone drank a few Red Bulls and you're just all over the place the entire time. Like, you know, so I do enjoy that. So it should be pretty sweet. But yeah, so let's go ahead here. And I guess we'll go ahead and transition now directly into the news.
News and discussion.
So this is a segment brought to you by our Twitter account. Follow us at ChokePointPod on Twitter and get all the Overwatch news, podcast, VODs, and much more. So head on over to twitter.com/ChokePointPod. And we got some great news today. You want to start it off, Octane?
Yeah, so Sombra's kind of been the news and the talk of the town, not only on Reddit, but also everywhere else in the Overwatch community. And there's been a lot that has come out over the last few weeks. And if you're not paying attention to kind of the little hidden Easter eggs, you wouldn't have caught it. And so there's a video by Riker that really caught my eye that I'll go ahead and link in chat and will be in the show notes. But it's a video that breaks down everything that has come out regarding Sombra. Regarding that first piece of that paper and kind of folder that was available on Anubis that we saw on the table, to kind of the recent videos that came out that showed a handful of characters and there was different directions in them, like southeast, southwest. There was a compass in the one, and then we see another one where there's a shimmer above the Lucio ball, the net. And then it goes into more detail recently that you guys saw with the Tracer with that stream behind her. And they definitely made that super evident with all the code behind that. And so this whole video, Brent and I were looking at it and kind of going through it at one point, and it completely showed us, you know, it broke down everything.
Yeah.
This guy, Riker, went ahead and broke it down, said, okay. And I guess he's very much part of like we call it like the brain trust of the Reddit.
Just hanging out in the Discord, listening and coming up with crazy theories, and then everybody's testing them out.
Yeah. So definitely go check it out. The most recent hype has been, you know, the website that released A Moment in Crime. Is that what it is, Brent?
Yeah, momentincrime.com.
Correct. And that recently released and kind of has been the center of attention right now. It's got a percentage ticker on it. It's been going up a tiny percent here. So there's been a lot of hints going on. Blizzard has dropped a few directional things to help out as well. So if you guys are really into the Sombra stuff and you want to know more, go over and check out that YouTube video by Riker. I think it's extremely helpful, and I recommend you guys take a look.
Yeah, and you might not want to get into it because you might just beat yourself up trying to solve stuff, because there's some smart people doing it and they are beating themselves up too a little bit.
Yep.
What about you, RP Gamer? You got some news here?
The only thing that I really had other than the Sombra stuff was the 2 new Reinhardt skins are on the PTR, and one of them is based off of the armor that's at the end of Eichenwald, which is of Baldric. So those look really nice.
That's nice. Well, what else? Did you have anything else on the Sombra stuff? I mean, there's so much there. What is like crazy in your head?
There was so much happening today as far as that forum post that was counting down instead of the length of time it's been up. And then when it went down, nothing happened. the forum just went on with its normal life, and the forums went crazy with, oh my god, it's been removed.
And everybody's then just going and looking for videos or blog posts or anything happening. It's like, well, the only thing that started happening was like we were saying is the website started counting up a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that's going to go anywhere else. We're looking at it a lot, and it stopped at 4%. I'm not sure what it is at this point now, but
it's like the ultimate tease, though.
Yeah.
Like I was reading on Reddit, like people are just sitting there refreshing, and it's like, really, like Blizzard, like because of everything that has come out, everyone's been looking for all these Easter eggs and like hidden items within the game and maps and stuff like that for Sombra. And then all of a sudden, we get a very basic website with text, and it just has a percentage, and it's like, here, guys. Here's the percent of how close we are, because everyone's been asking, like, when are we going to get more from Sombra? When are we going to get more on Sombra? Like, everyone knows it's there, and Blizzard has played this game like really, really well over the last few weeks now. So,
right.
If this is where we're at now, it seems like something with it doesn't seem like either that it's like, okay, every hour we get a percentage. It's like even slower than that. It's like once every 5 hours it goes up a percent. So,
it may not go up anymore. That may be kind of the end of that one, and it's like, go look somewhere else for it in the the patch that came out if there's something in there. And we'll find out tomorrow when someone gets back to work tomorrow at Blizzard and goes, oh yeah, I got to update that to 5% now.
Whoops. Tick, 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 tick.
And there's people walking and stuff. So what does that timer mean anyway? It's like, I don't know. I just keep, upping it up a percent here or there, and it seems to get people excited. So let's just keep at it. And they're like, yeah, it's a great marketing job.
Yeah.
Let's keep doing it. So also this week we had the new animated short, The Last Bastion. It was released. And in related news, it's been discovered that The Last Bastion was actually an Omnic test. Because, like, if you didn't cry or have any emotion watching that, then you were definitely an Omnic, some sort of robot. And
Good news, guys. I am not a robot.
Yeah.
Did y'all like it?
Neither am I.
Loved it.
Oh,
I will have to say, like, I don't know if you guys, Freckles or IP, Brett and I were talking about it at one point, but, like, you watch those and you just want more. Like, you're like, okay, this is great. Yep. But now I want, like, an hour more of this story.
Yeah. Give me a movie.
Yeah. Like, I feel like part of the time I'm like, they do better animation than a lot of companies out there, and it's not just the animation I think that Blizzard excels in, but it's the storytelling.
Yeah, and it's
because granted it looked phenomenal, but at the very end of it, like, it pulls on different emotions, which is pretty impressive for a storytelling of one of your characters. You know what I mean? Like,
with zero dialogue.
Yes.
It's really. It's powerful.
It actually made me not hate Bastion for
this much.
Yeah.
And then I played Overwatch, and I hate Bastion again.
Well, it's the Omnics. The Omnics were using them to kill people, and now they're gonna get theirs, right?
Yeah, we'll see. I guess.
So does anybody?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, does anybody have any theories with all the Sombra stuff going on? Like, what she is, who she is?
I think she's Omnic myself.
That's interesting.
I think that could be. There's a lot of people thinking that she's related to Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody posted a forum post that was at the bottom of one of the pages, and it just said, "Oh, Sombra is Reaper's mom."
Yeah, right.
like Farron.
I think Sombra. Everyone, all the information we know now, she's some type of stealth character, which I think is pretty cool. I think maybe some type of like android hybrid type of deal. It's just what I'm imagining for her. It's just what's that?
Sort of like Genji.
Very similar, like a Genji type of setup. It just would make. I'm just imagining like this like cloaked figure that like their arms sticking out, half of it's robotic and the other half is like human type of deal. Like, it's just everything that we've learned. I think Sombra will have one of the better stories at this point, just because of how much hype has built up about it.
Or the worst story ever.
Yeah, right. That's gonna come out and be like, here's your character. It's gonna be the biggest disappointment. We're gonna be like, really, really, Blizzard?
I'm going a different route, I think, from everybody on this. I think she's going to be like this ops kind of character that can like bug players, maybe hook into cameras, maybe start turrets up, make doors close or open, and kind of be away from the action, but maybe have to go up to like plan a bug or something on people, or deploy different things, but then kind of try to stay in the back and give information to the group and get guns and things working.
Wouldn't that be interesting if one of their ability was like you just mentioned, the bug, and like you know how Zenyatta's got his orbs. If maybe an ability is something like an orb that gives your entire team vision on one particular person. So like you go up and you put the orb on their Reaper, and then your entire team has, while it's on there, your entire team has vision on that Reaper.
Kind of like a tracker or something like that.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. Part of me though is craving the stealth character that is like Bastion and Torbjorn's like worst nightmare.
Oh, don't say
like part of me is like, yes, like
that's Genji, right?
You know, yes, but no, like think
like
of it,
an invisible Genji. Do we need
like,
that?
It's just to like come up behind you and backstab. You know, it reminds me of
the Spy.
It reminds me of Spy. It reminds me of
Spy.
A rogue from World of Warcraft. You know, it just kind of reminds me of both of those. That's at least what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
You know, your theory, Brent, does sound attractive though.
Well, like the brain. What's that
know?
brain thing from the Heroes of the Storm that just sits back in the base and does everything?
Avatar.
Like something, because they're used to kind of pushing the envelope and trying these new ideas that you haven't seen in another game. And there's always kind of that idea in TF2 that we talked about, having, you know, the person sitting there kind of directing. And they were going to have that originally, but then it just didn't play right. Well, Blizzard's good at finding out how to make things work that other people couldn't. So I think they're going to, if not this character, some future character.
Yeah, no, it would definitely be cool. And I think, you know, Blizzard has the ability to kind of, even though in other games, how something like Brent you mentioned, you'd be like, I don't know how they would do that and it'd be impossible. Blizzard would find a way to do it. Like they're that good. So, you know, we'll definitely have to see where that goes from here. Definitely.
So that's most of the news. Also, I guess the Eichenwald is now available on the PTR, and it's in map rotation and a brawl just for it. For focus testing, so if you want to go play it, get on the PTR, and then let us know how it is. We should jump on the PTR too. I don't know how difficult they make it compared to getting on the regular game. Anybody else do y'all get on the PTR regularly? Anyone?
We know Freckles doesn't, being level 221. She doesn't have time for that. She's got to keep working on her levels. Like holy hell!
I have gotten on it.
Really?
Not for Overwatch, but for Heroes of the Storm.
Okay. I was gonna say, really, like. That's impressive.
So, what else is impressive? I want people to send us in their best Jeff Foxworthy redneck impressions of, you know, you might be a redneck if, but change it up. You might be an omnic if, and then give us your best one.
I like it.
You can send it in, tweet us, or you can call us, speakpipe.com/chokepoint, and Twitter. You got that.
Exactly.
And let's move on to this.
Hero Highlight.
So tonight, the hero is Genji. And it seems like RP's playing him a lot. Octane's, you were trying to get some play in Genji and those type of heroes. I'm more Reinhardt, so I played a little bit, not much. Freckles, did you play some Genji?
I did play some Genji.
So I probably won't be able to throw much at this except for what I hate about Genji when Genji comes in Genji. I feel like the dog Benji, but Genji comes and kills me in whatever I play. So what's everybody love about Genji? Freckles, what do you love about Genji?
I like that he's I like that he's fast and can counter Bastions, who is the only other person, one of the very few people I hate more than I hate Genji.
Octane?
One thing I think with Genji, kind of some of the strengths for Genji and kind of the where we see Genji as a huge benefit. This past week I got a chance to watch a decent amount of competitive play, and a lot of Genji, Genji comes down to when you're stuck in that point where you can't get any movement on on a payload, on a points lockdown. A lot of the times from the competitive play, you see a Genji come from above. And his ultimate's popping at that moment. And it's really like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and, it's kind of that bomb from above that comes in and just stirs the pot up. When everyone's locked down, their corners are covered, you can't push any farther. That's where I feel like Genji it does his best when his ultimate is available. As I was mentioning to RP, like, never touching the ground, because I've seen some really good Genjis where they are all over the place, impossible to hit, impossible to keep up with. But they're doing so much damage. They're interrupting you. They're making you turn different directions. They're kind of stirring that pot, as I said, to affect, your Reinhardt shields, to affect your turrets if they're there, or your bastions that are set up. So that's where I'm seeing Genji as most effective.
Yeah, and then it's oh, sorry, just got a thing. But Genji is like that dude that when they show the play of the game and it's him, like I almost have a seizure, because it's just like I'm just getting too old. I can't play that fast twitch back and forth, and it's like, how did you even see that person you just killed? Like, is it half luck that you just have to be in the wrong place at the wrong time?
yeah, definitely.
I don't know about that.
I think that makes sense.
I think they're just good players, and they scare me.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I feel like as a Genji player, like I don't want to say you're on a different level, but it's a different type of player. Genji isn't the first character that I go to. It sounds the same thing with Brent, same thing with Freckles. Isn't this first character you choose out of the gate very easily. I feel like it's a special breed of people that enjoy playing that. It's just that hyper aggressive, fast moving, constantly on the go. And yeah, you could be super effective. I mean, it's like sometimes impossible to kill a good Genji. So, that's kind of my thoughts there.
It's definitely one of those players. I mean, you can tell when a good player is playing a Genji, and when someone who may be just freshly starting Genji is playing, and they try to deflect stuff on you. You're like, yeah, no, not gonna work.
Yep, exactly.
What about you, RP? I know you played a lot. What did you love about him?
His mobility is really high. I like to be able to just jump in, hit somebody, and then use his ability to get out of there.
And the converse is the hate. I'll start with when I'm playing a Bastion, which I don't do much, but when I do, and Genji kills me with the reflect, I'm like, come on, really?
Yeah.
Really? I couldn't even stop fast enough.
I let a Pharah ult go. This was just maybe 30 minutes ago. And Genji just reflected it right back at my face. All 100%. I died instantly.
And you're like, wow, what a waste.
And then I have to come here and talk all about how I feel about Genji. So that's how I feel about Genji.
Definitely... Something I noticed actually with Genji, though, is interesting because, as I said, I'm watching a lot of competitive play recently with Genji, and he's constantly picked as kind of an offensive player, I'm noticing. And it's quite interesting because, we talk about just kind of like, nobody seems like they want to play Genji, but he's super effective, but he seems really good in the competitive scene, which drives me to want to get better with him. I just don't have that drive at this point. Yeah. Let's be honest here.
And any other hates on Genji? I hate his smug face. That's what I hate. So some strengths and weaknesses on Genji. I think we kind of hit a lot of them. He's fast and mobile, and he can ruin a day. Like if the sentries are up and the bastions are up and you don't see if you can get through, like he can definitely take out bastions real fast if they don't stop. Get someone to get a bastion to spin up and then a Genji to jump in and finish it off. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, I think that works out well. From the opposite side with your weaknesses, your key people that aren't as affected from him are kind of your Winstons. And the most effective, I think, is Mei, just with her ability to slow you. I think is really what affects Genji the most, especially with her ice block. You know, it just kind of shuts that down, that initial pressure. So those, I think, are some of the biggest weaknesses in players, the weaknesses against Genji.
Symmetra too.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's very true.
Symmetra's auto-aiming gun.
And is there anything we would like changed about Genji?
I feel like for me, when I'm trying to play him, and maybe this is just learner's curve, some type of indication of walls that you can successfully like jump off of. Like you, RP, you've played him a lot. Like, do you find it that you're like trying to jump off things and you just can't get that double bounce off of it, or is it just me and my terrible play with him?
I just think that sometimes I hit it wrong, or I don't get the climb to stick first, because you have to use the climb for it to reset to jump off. But they did make a change on the PTR where they took that out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so you can't be jumping on a wall and then get a reset on your double jump again.
So it makes it the skill curve then along Genji a little bit higher then when it comes down to that.
Yeah, you have to use your double jump without getting reset.
Okay, that makes sense. I like it.
As far as going up against a Genji, I wish it was more apparent when he was deflecting. I usually don't notice until about halfway through, and I'm half dead, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I do hear that, because the most telling sign is the clinking. And I wish there was some visual cue, or I mean, I'm sure there is, but it's probably very small, and I wish that it was easier to tell.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, I don't think we just want to go through all the skills. People know the skills that he uses to pay the bills.
Those that like him, those that hate him.
Yep, exactly.
I think I would like him more if I was more of, like Brent was saying, a fast-paced player. I think that he fits well into the game, and I like having one on my team. And I don't even hate him as much as it probably is coming across that I hate him. But he's not somebody that I think I could ever play well.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I don't hate him like I kind of hate Bastion, and I don't really hate Bastion either, but I respect Genjis. Like, good playing Genjis, you just kind of give him the respect, because it's like, I know how hard it is to play it good, because I sure as hell can't. I can play a Bastion good, but who can't? Right?
Right.
Okay, so with that, next week, do we know who's next week? See, I'm making you do alphabetical
probably
stuff.
Hanzo, right?
So next week, Hanzo. So if you want to send us in tips, tricks about Hanzo, do it. And tell us what you love or what you hate about Hanzo. And with that, let's move on to this.
Torbjorn's Workshop.
So, Torbjorn's Workshop, ideas for the game. Send us your ideas. We'll talk about your ideas instead of our ideas. That's what we want to do. You can tweet us, ChokePointPod, Torbjorn's Workshop, hashtag it with that, or leave a voicemail at speakpipe.com/chokepoint. Octane, you got something here. What's up?
Yeah, so I was scouring on Twitter today and looking at some of if you have Play Overwatch added on like TweetDeck like I do, there's like people are tweeting at Play Overwatch like all day long, and Job Cobbins is the name of the guy, is the Twitter account, which is very creative. And he had a really good recommendation, and I kind of like this. Blizzard has in other games they have a lot of different modes available, and his recommendation for Overwatch was, hey, having a quick play mode with competitive ranked rules would be a lot of fun. Which I can agree with. Some people, to me, I really enjoy the layout and nature, the game set, the lock of characters, per team of ranked. I'm just a ranked type of person, so I'm always going to be playing ranked, and I really enjoy it. But I feel like that would, be a better game mode from this perspective than allowing those situations where it's like, hey, our entire team wants to go Torbjorn. Now, granted, I think there's a time and a place for that, and a game mode for that, and that's a lot of fun. But this is a recommendation that I saw on Twitter that I really liked, and I think would be a fun addition to the game if they had a non-ranked mode, but in the same type of rule sets and setup and stuff like that. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I do. I do. I was actually thinking earlier this week, because there have been at least 3 games I've been playing this week where I suggested a change because we just weren't making any progress, and people go, "Oh, it's just quick play." I say, "Well, that doesn't mean we can't win. That doesn't mean we can't try. That doesn't mean we can't change it up." And people were saying one, whatever, and I thought, well, yeah, it's just quick play, but what's quick play? It's practice for competitive. And you're not practicing losing, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I thought,
Some of these players seem like they're practicing losing all the time.
so I thought if there was either something that was more casual where people could just go in and all play 5 Torbjorns, because I know that can be really fun, and I like to goof around sometimes too. But I think that if this suggestion were to pan out, then I could go there and play there, and people would be more receptive to suggestions and changes and that sort of thing. And then if I want to goof off and play 5 Torbjorns, then I could go to quick play as we know it now and just not care. I think that's a really good suggestion.
I was in a game tonight where 3 people queued up as Anna.
Oh, that's a nightmare. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I left.
Well, what do y'all think they need to throw in things like ARAMs, like all random, all mid kind of things where it's just random characters? I mean, I know they had it match of the week one time.
They've had brawls, yeah, like that.
Fun as a pro.
But have it more often, or also like where you can make a custom map but open it to everybody, like have a lobby area where you can go into that sort of thing, so you could find your all Torbjorns map.
I don't see why not.
I mean, they do have their brawls, so it's kind of your time and place for some of the oddball stuff. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you could almost take quick play now and change it to like call it open play or something like that, like something, because that's what I feel like it really is. You're kind of just jumping on teams and it's open to whatever the heck you want to do with the characters and everything like that. And I feel like you could go ahead and change. You know what I mean? You could go ahead and change it to quick play to be the new quick play that we kind of talked about. I think that would be effective.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. Also, I was thinking I would love to see more noticeable health warnings, like when you're about to die.
Flash your screen!
Like
You're going to die!
Like, I feel like there's so many times, and this is, just me sucking, but I feel like there's so many times that I'm like, oh, I was really low on health. I should have gone and gotten some health. Like,
tunnel vision, Brent. It's called tunnel vision.
I do. Sometimes I'm like, where the hell is my health anyway? And like looking at the screen, like I'm gonna focus on the game. So instead of me having to actually like look at numbers, like some other method that's really easy. Like my shield's great. Like I feel like there's maybe I'm bleeding more or something on the screen, or
your screen turns red around the edge.
Mine doesn't seem to.
I'm
colorblind.
Is only the middle.
There's an audio cue.
Only sees the middle.
I don't know what y'all are talking about.
It's about 25%. You'll go or something like that, and that's, I don't know how I can get more obvious than that, other than you're dead. That's a pretty big one.
That's what happens to me. I don't know. Deaf and colorblind. I don't know what's going on.
Brandon, are we playing the same game?
I don't know. Have you seen these things?
It's his tunnel vision. He only sees that in the middle.
I have horrible tunnels.
To point it out to you next time when we're in game.
You're not making this shit up? That like this is all true?
This is all true.
Brad needs warning. Warning.
Warning. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Yeah.
You're at 15 health. Bing, 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 bing. Well, then maybe we don't need more noticeable health warnings. Like, I don't need someone like kicking me in the junk like when I'm really low health. Like, let's don't go that far. So,
I'll not buy that attachment.
I will look at this more. So we don't really have a bumper for this next segment. We'll get it. This is a new segment. This is really cool. So what's new in the competitive scene?
Yeah, so we decided to go ahead and add a little bit more competitive news into it, into the show, because we know that, there's a lot of interest out there, and there's definitely things that we want to let our audience know of. Hey, this is what happened, and here's what's coming up if you're interested. So this past weekend, we had the ESL Atlantic Showdown. It's been going on for a little while now. The open qualifiers were back in July for North America and also EU. And then they had the final qualifiers at the beginning of August. And then finally they had the final event, which is at Gamescom in Cologne, Germany, which was 4 NA teams and 4 EU teams. So the prize pool total for all teams was 100,000, which is pretty respectable for where the game is at right now. 40,000 for first place team. And if those of you guys that didn't follow along, the grand finals were Rogue versus Reunited. Sadly, they were both EU teams. I was hoping for maybe an NA versus EU in the grand finals. That always has a great story to it. It was a best of 5. So game 1, it was on Hollywood. It was tied 2-2, and Rogue ended up taking that. Game 2 was on Ilios, and it was just hands down a Reunited game. Game 3 was on Dorado, and Rogue took it by just a tiny bit, just barely was able to clinch that game. Going into game 4, it was Reunited versus Rogue, and this was a game where if Rogue went ahead and pulled it out, they would win the grand finals. It was on Kings Row, and it was the first time in the entire grand final series that we saw Hanzo actually got selected.
Oh, wow.
Now, I could see, why they've selected Hanzo on that map, just because of how wide open it is, the availability of how that would work out. And so Rogue looked phenomenal on that. They just looked clear cut and polished. They did take the last game, so they did end up winning the grand finals of Gamescom for the ESL Atlantic Showdown. And the VODs are available. This was something I was looking for. The VODs are available. If you go on YouTube and you look for official Overwatch highlights, there is a channel out there. I'm not sure if it's actually something that Blizzard puts together or not. It says official, but that doesn't mean anything. But it is out there. And so take a look if you're interested in going and watching the individual games without the commentary in between or the analyst desk.
So, and do they have the analysts going off the whole game, going, "Oh my God, watch it for fun"?
Yeah, I mean they're definitely going ahead and breaking it down, and it's kind of interesting. Like they kind of crack jokes here and there, which is fine, not a big deal. But they were super helpful. I mean, Overwatch is a hard game, I feel like, to cast because it's just so fast paced,
right?
And so all over the place.
And who you're following and crap like that.
Yeah.
So and how do they do that? Are they more the camera looking at the big field, or are they going through one person's eyes?
So what Blizzard did is they give you the player perspective to start with. If you're, so I would swap over to Brent's camera. So they give you that camera mode, and then what they've done is they actually have cameras pre-built into the map, so camera locations. And then as the observer, you just jump to those camera locations that are strategically placed.
Or Sombra cameras.
Oh, look
Cameras?
at you.
Cameras?
Oh, yeah, right? So that was the Atlantic Showdown. I really enjoyed watching that. It was interesting. I thought I had a pretty good idea as to some of the competitive team comps.
Mm-hmm.
But after watching it, it kind of gave me a little bit more. Winston was played a lot more than I thought. Lucio was played a lot more than I thought. Just kind of the team comps were very static and very much the same. Not throughout the game, but just the start of each game. They kind of revolved around the same characters. So what to expect this week in the esports scene for Overwatch? So starting tonight, E-League and Face It are partnering to have the Overwatch Open. That's 16 teams of the NA and EU are invited. It's a $300,000 prize pool.
Were we invited?
No, unfortunately,
Next one
in the mail.
Next one.
Maybe Freckles, level 221, but none of us.
Right.
So those of you guys not familiar, Face It is a tournament platform organization. They're very, very popular from Counter-Strike. And then E-League is actually Turner's esports organization, which actually airs weekly on TBS on Fridays right now with Counter-Strike. So I guess I throw this out to maybe Freckles and RP here. What are your thoughts on having Overwatch on TV? And the question always comes up, having competitive esports on TV, but what about Overwatch? Just because of how fast paced it is, stuff going on everywhere. I just feel like it would be really hard to follow from outside the Overwatch community. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that it would be a big hit overall. I think it'd be hit and miss with Overwatch players, and non-Overwatch players would just have no interest or ability to follow.
It's definitely a niche thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how they're going to kind of crack that nut, because I mean it's not just this game. It's a lot of games. Like I can't really get into watch it. Well, StarCraft 2 probably a little more than others because it's kind of a little slowed down, and you can kind of, even though they're clicking really fast, you kind of see what's going on. Whereas, like you said, it's such a fast paced game that you're like, what just happened? Though I think a little probably easier to watch than maybe League of Legends or something like that.
Correct. Yeah. So we'll have to see kind of how that goes. I mean, I enjoyed watching it when I was watching the VODs on YouTube. It was enjoyable, but I also knew what I was watching and knew kind of what I was getting into and stuff like that. So
Right.
we'll have to see kind of where that goes. Finally, this week, we do have the Overwatch World Cup, which is kind of direct. It's kind of the timing is kind of directly after the Olympics. I put a link in there, and I actually haven't voted yet. I don't know if Freckles and RP Gamer voted yet. Unfortunately, Brent did. You know, he had to be the guy to go and vote. But we were talking about it a little bit today over Google Hangout. We were actually like, oh, you know, Brent actually brought it to me and was asking like, is this Lassus from the Smite community? And I was like, yeah. And then I started to look through here, and there's a handful of people. It's interesting. If you go to the website, I'll put the link in chat for you guys if you guys are interested in checking it out. It's pretty sweet. You can go there and vote for the people that you want to represent US for this Open Cup of World Cup. And going through here, it's interesting because like I played against a guy named Reaver tonight. Is that the same guy? Maybe not. But there's a lot of other people in here that I'm seeing that I recognize their names, like Zoms. I'm pretty sure that's Zombie Unicorn. That's in there, especially because it has like the pink hair and the pink icon. She's a YouTube personality. She played Smite a while ago. There's also some other people like Null, which is from Team Eager. He's in there. He was in the Smite community. And then Lassus, which was a very well-known Dignitas player back in the day, then went to Eager. Smite player as well, which is interesting because I've seen quite a handful of Smite players moving over from Smite to Overwatch.
Right.
Just more and more. Some of them still play Smite, but they're playing Overwatch, pretty religiously now. Captain Coach, who was a European player, then a coach for Smite, has moved over to Overwatch as well. So it's this interesting transition. I don't know if like some of the skill set kind of bridges between the two. I don't know, but
it's you got 4 abilities, and they love games with 4 abilities and an ult.
Yeah.
And let's do it. We'll figure out the rest as we go along. But yeah, I went ahead and voted for all the ones I saw that really had a Reinhardt in there. Because I was like,
oh my word!
Were there many Reinhardts in the tourneys you watched? I got to go back and watch those.
Not as much actually. In the tournament play that I did watch, I saw a lot of Winston actually being played. Winston was played a lot, so he was a character that I saw a lot in there. I mean, Reinhardt here and there. Maybe for your like last minute bottleneck pushes, but a lot of Winston from the support perspective. Absolutely. So yeah, I think that's everything this week for the Overwatch side for esports.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to watch that stuff. So let's move on to this.
Yeah.
Winston's Laboratory.
Oh, yeah. Tips and tricks for the game.
That's pretty cool.
If y'all have some, send them to us. Until you do, RP, what you got?
I actually couldn't come up with anything this week.
I read the wrong line, but that's fine. That's fine. Freckles?
Let's see. Freckles, you got anything for this week? Tips
I do.
And tricks?
I do. My tip is to play to and with your team. One person cannot make or break a game. This is a team game. It takes balance. It takes teamwork. It really, really does. And sure, you can luck your way into a win without it, but it's not built for that. It's not made for that. And I think you're going to have a lot better of a time if you pick for the objective. Like if you're I played today alone with 2 attack bastions and lost both games. Pick characters that go with the objective. If you see a teammate in trouble, help them. If you see a teammate even like firing down a hallway, you can assume there's an enemy there. Go at least see if they need help. If your teammate dies, that's gonna hurt your game too.
Yeah, I notice a lot of people like just from the competitive games reflecting back on that, like there's synergy and like working together and waiting for someone else to come help, like working, come up and going down alleys together is totally different than like the quick play matches I'm playing right now, where it's just like you got people pushing in solo, like on a capture point 5-on-1. And it's like, really, like, what are we going to do there? Like,
run in one at a time and get killed.
Everybody does their own thing. Woo.
Never going to make any progress.
Yeah, and I mean the game, the team communication is big. Not everyone's all big on voice chat. I completely understand that. But at the same time, like just as Freckles said, I think that's a great recommendation. Just waiting to do things more team based instead of like independently.
Yeah.
That's what I find works out really, really well. And also, kind of going on the same lines as what Freckles said about team stuff, is also picking characters that benefit the team and not just like I'm the best with this character, this is the only guy I play, so I'm going to play him. Right. Because I run into that all the time where it's like, I only play Hanzo. Well, it's like, okay, that's fine. But if this isn't a map geared towards Hanzo's skill set, how are you helping the team?
Right.
I'll piggyback on that and say that when you're starting a match, communicate then. Don't just wait till the game starts, even though you're probably not going to communicate when the game starts either. But do that too, but communicate before the game begins on picks. Don't just wait and sit and wait. Everybody's waiting for everybody else to pick, except for the 3 people who decide to all go Bastion. Like, talk to each other, figure it out then what you want to do. And if you want to do something like go all Bastions, we'll say, hey, I really just feel like being silly. Does anybody want to do this? Like, ask. Yeah. You never know. Everybody might be like, yeah, that sounds like fun. Let's screw around. Let's have a screw around match. Or they may be like, no, let's go. Let's do this for real. Or they can leave if they don't want to.
Or they can leave if they don't want to.
So.
Yep.
But don't be a jerk and do something. And I had 2 separate games today where we had snipers on attack. And at the end of each game, the person that had been sniper and refused to switch off sniper the entire game was spamming attack the objective.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Well, you haven't been anywhere near an objective this entire game. You just and then you're mad at us because we didn't win it? No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and that becomes painful too if someone's playing the sniper role and then complaining that no one's on point.
If it works, it works. I don't, at the beginning of a round, if I see a sniper on attack or a tracer on defend, I don't immediately get on that person. Especially I check their rank, they've got a star or 2. Okay, maybe they know something that I don't. And if I see them getting a lot of kills and it's working, fine. But 2 minutes left in the game and we're not even close to the objective and you're still back here doing who knows. Like, no.
And my last thing, I gotta say this. I gotta bring this up. Don't get mad at me. Let's just say don't be salty. May have had a fake site out there that might have brought you to the chat live, and I hope that didn't make you too salty. We're just having some fun with the old Sombra stuff, and hopefully maybe you enjoyed what you listened to. And maybe you didn't.
A couple friends.
And maybe a couple friends. And maybe a couple enemies. But don't get salty. Life's too short to be salty. Let's all have fun and enjoy.
Let's all play 5 Torbjorns on attack.
That just goes to show, don't believe everything on the internet.
What?
Right.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure people knew it was not a real thing. At least by what I read on Reddit. I was pretty sure. I was like, wow, they figured that out pretty fast.
Reddit knows everything.
Right. That's smart people. So anyway, come back again. Do you want to hit the wrap up, Octane? Or
Sure, no problem. I closed my freaking notes. Thank you.
Oh no, I got this.
I'm like, I closed my notes. I know everything I need to talk about.
Come back next week. Twitch.tv/chokepointpod. Also, you can find our videos currently at youtube.com/@BrentCopeland. And come back next week. Y'all have fun.
See ya.
Bye.
You are now at the end of another episode of Choke Point,
That's a star performance.
a podcast brought to you by largemarge.media. Go there for more information or leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/chokepoint. You can also follow us on Twitter at ChokePointPod.
Well done, my friend.